Intermission.
Fish smoke gooder
with Tim and
What are you
Dave.
thinking, Tim?
I'm thinking I never knew that's what the circle hooks were for.
Honestly, I thought they were literally just for catfish. But but because you didn't have to, I didn't realize it was because you don't have to set the hook. I thought it was just because the catfish's mouth. I have no idea. That's awesome. Makes perfect sense though.
All right, I'm also using this time to stock up on beer.
Yo, you do your thing. Which is actually a
Sorry.
really good point because
Yeah, hold on.
my cup's been empty for a couple minutes here.
All right.
Yeah. That's wow. Literally, I think I have like 2 or 3 packages of circle hooks, just catfish. That's all. Never knew the reason why they were preferred for catfish, but it all makes sense because you don't have to set the hook. Grab their mouth and you're good, you know.
And it's gut hooking fish, you know, to me, to someone that I just had someone in the shop earlier, and he's from North Carolina, and you meet folks from North Carolina and from Louisiana, and they love killing fish. They love killing as many redfish and as trout as they possibly can. There's apparently thousands and hundreds of thousands, and they have a great population. We don't have a lot of redfish. We don't have a lot of trout. So when someone comes in here asking what's open, what's not, as a tackle shop employee, you have to just kind of bite your tongue and saying, listen, you should fish to want to fish. You shouldn't, but some people like to just hunt to kill deer or to fill their freezer. I get it. But the majority of us down here, especially my guides, right? I mean, they make their living by making people happy by putting them on as many fish as possible. The more redfish you take out of that population, the more snook that you kill, the more sea trout that you take out of Estero Bay. All right, well, next year, your clients probably aren't going to be as happy because you just took 26 breeders out in one day between 5 guide boats. So it's kind of it's a really interesting line that guides, fishing captains have to walk with their clients when they're trying to keep fish, because you want to be able to make people happy and send them to go have dinner with their freshly caught fish because everyone loves that, you know, from Oklahoma. But at the same token, that fish that you just caught is the reason that you got $120 tip, and you caught 27 of them. And if you kill 21 of them, what's next year's tip going to look like? I mean, it's just, it's a fragile ecosystem we have down here, and you all see it, red tide and all that stuff. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but trying to make your living in the fishing industry, which is so weather dependent and, you know, relies on the ecological, you know, estuaries having a nice balance. Killing a bunch of fish isn't exactly high on a lot of guys that are trying to put money. So it's interesting, but y'all love eating walleye up north, right? Yeah. And so people come down here and love killing walleye, and they want to kill trout the same way. Fine. You're just going to have a tougher time doing it, you know? So it's a fine line, and we just try to point people in the right direction of trying to teach them, you know, take 2. Don't take 20, you know. So,
I think that's a good point, you know, you make right there. You know, you caught 20. How much of that fish is actually going to end up going to waste because it's going to end up in your freezer
burn.
and it's going to sit there way too long, and it's going to get freezer burn. You know.
Yeah, the biggest, I think the biggest issue with red grouper fishermen is, you know, you catch 20 red grouper. All right, you got 4 months to eat that, and by the time it's all gone, right, you know, it's going to go to waste. But that's what fish fries at bait shops are for, I suppose.
Right. Oh God.
But
that's crazy. We always used to go. You know, you never keep your biggest fish because you want those genetics breeding in the water. But the example is it'll never be apples to apples because it's a pond. Or like our favorite lake, Lake Shelby, that's a 7-mile reservoir versus the ocean.
Sure.
I don't think it's a comparable, but it's that was always the mentality around, you know, Chicago suburbs.
Well, that, and you look at, you know, our our lake we go to, they stock it.
That's the other thing.
There'll be things like bass and stuff like that. They'll drop a bunch of them in every year.
Sure, and that
They're not just
they do that down here.
dropping like
There's a bunch of great organizations. CCA, for example, stocks like 10,000 redfish in Port Charlotte every spring, which is wonderful that they can breed them and things like that. The best part about FWC and the regulations that they have, for example, when snook are open, like that snook, for example, they keep breeders in the population by making size limits. So redfish, you can only keep between 18 and 27 inches. After they're 18 inches, they've had a chance to breed. Okay, so you can kill one. After they're 27 inches, that's a 3.5-year-old redfish that's stronger and healthier than any other. You're no longer allowed to keep that one. Once they're 27 inches, they're allowed to live forever, which is wonderful in my opinion. Same with snook.
God, yeah.
Snook, you're not allowed to keep until they're 28 inches. Then they have a chance to breed. At 26 inches, they mature. So at 28 inches, you can now keep them because they've had a full maturity cycle. After they're 32 inches, can't keep them. That fish now gets to live forever because it's the strongest and the best, like you were saying. It gets to pass on. It gets to pass on that breeder genetics into the next. But there's very few fish, that's about it. Snook and redfish are about the only slot fish that we have down here. Otherwise, it's just like open range, grouper, snapper, cobia, kill the biggest one you can get and make it a trophy. Which, I'm not standing on a soapbox. When I go offshore, the measure of a successful day offshore is what your fish box looks like.
Yeah.
And that's I'm guilty of it. Terrible thing to say, but when you open your cooler, how was your day offshore? See any big ones? Okay, yeah, I limited out on grouper and snapper. I killed as many grouper and snapper as I could before I called it a day. That's the measure of success. Like, man, is my daughter going to be able to have the same limits? No, they're probably going to be a lot smaller because me and all my boys kill as many as we possibly can because we spend fuel money to go out and kill fish. So I'm not on a soapbox because I'm guilty as any other. But I kind of think of the ocean and offshore fishing, 30 to 70 miles out. That's an expansive ocean. I think of Estero Bay in our inshore fishery, which is mangroves and things of that nature. That's very small. That can't really sustain. There's not a lot of people that know spots 70 miles out. So you can go pick and choose the fish you kill out there. Well, if you can take a pontoon and go kill as many fish as you want, going 200 yards into the bay, I can't sustain, 4,500 boats fishing every day. So I'm biased that I think that offshore fishing is allowable to keep a bunch of fish while inshore fishing should be more sustainable and practice more catch and release. But there's regulations for a reason. To each their own. Y'all do what you want. I just make fun of people that kill redfish. So that's my deal.
Perfect. Hey, keep the bias up. When was the last time you were on the water? It's gotta be difficult owning a tackle shop. How often are you able to get out? Because that's the dangerous part about making your passion your livelihood, I guess.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always
I wag my head because it's few and far between. I used to fish at least 3 times a week when I had a fake job of consulting and asking people what time it was and then telling them what time it was. And now that I own a bait and tackle shop, but it's also growing a business, right? I mean, I would hope that I have friends that have established tackle shops. I got a buddy named Ben McCormick who owns Cutthroat Anglers. Shout out to Ben in Breckenridge, Colorado, that is voted best fly shop in Colorado year after year. Now, there's not a lot, I'm sure his plate is full, but that shop is established. It's a smooth operation. He's got that place working like a well-oiled machine. He has now the opportunity to go and, he's got great employees. The processes are in place. This place just got a complete full gut. and a complete rewire, and it's in shambles, to be completely honest. Our tanks
Mm-hmm.
got destroyed. We thought we were right where we wanted it. Now we're starting from scratch. So I do think, to answer your question, I fish about once every month,
Mm-hmm.
which is sad. I hope that in 5 years I'm on the water 3 to 4 times a week again.
Mm-hmm.
But until that happens, my employees are great. They're like, we don't need you in here. I don't know why you act like you think we need you. Like
Mm-hmm.
everything's we got it. Like go with your wife and go with your buddies and go fish. But it's just you guys. It's a
It,
baby, right?
oh
And
yeah.
and you don't feel good about leaving it until you think that it's in perfect shape.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, it'll never be perfect in your eyes. So
Right.
there's always continuous improvement trying to go on. But it kills me because all I do is hear about people catching fish all freaking day. So, that's the tough
Oh
part
yeah.
about working in a tackle shop. They ask you, how's the fishing? I say, I don't know. Ask the person behind you. Like, I've
Yeah.
been in here all day scooping shrimp, buddy. Like, ask the
Yeah.
dude that just went fishing for 4 hours. I have no idea. So, yeah,
Oh
it's tough.
yeah.
But
And it's
I'm also in Florida scooping shrimp and working in a tackle shop and drinking beer, with my buddies until 8 p.m. So it's not all bad.
yep. I think it's something where I think because we're a similar age, I think even you remove the bait and tackle shop. I mean, that's a piece of why me and Tim started the Fish More Gooder. Is developing a career, starting a family. You're moving with your job. You're a young dad. Now you're busting 60, 80 hours a week trying to make sure everyone has food on their plate, and your passion does go to the side because now you have a new passion. Are my kids
Right.
healthy? Is the wife happy? Is the house is there's no leaks, or we're ready for the next natural disaster that comes through the tackle shop or whatever, you know.
Sure.
Um, so it completely understand. I mean, I've had months with. I think last year I think I fished 10 times, and I have a little pond that's 5 minutes from my house. But when you have a new baby and the wife goes, "Hey, I need 2 more hours," and the sun's already up, but it's not yet 10 o'clock, you're like, "Shit, I love you. I just
Sure.
go sleep. I got it. Don't you
Sure.
know?" It's but it's
Sure.
so it's always interesting to hear. When our age group, when did you get out? What did you catch? What's going on? And then, we
Hmm.
don't get to go out that much. So now, hopefully our goal here is we get to talk to people like you and yourself and people that love fishing that, maybe they're in the same spot, maybe they've been out fishing more. And you live vicariously if you want to say it that way. But,
Sure.
you don't necessarily have to be out fishing to enjoy the culture of fishing.
Yeah.
And you got to
So,
realize that more than anybody else because you're fishing
You're in
every
a bait and
single
tackle shop.
day, even though
yeah.
you don't have a pole in your hand and you're not
Right.
reeling something in and not setting the hook because you kill a fish.
That's right. Crank,
But
don't yank.
yeah,
Right. Real till
absolutely.
you feel.
You know.
Yeah. It's and what resonated with me for Fish More Gooder is I would say, and I tell everyone this, my tackle distributors, my bait guys that bring me
Hmm.
bait that don't realize it, my fellow tackle shop owners that compete with me. I would say 85% of folks that walk through this door looking for bait or tackle have no idea what they're doing. And they're from the
Hmm.
north and they're on vacation or they're visiting their parents or the big, the number one line I hear is they take 5 steps through the door and they say, I'm not from here. You didn't need to tell me that. Got it. And that's okay. And it's almost like they feel embarrassed to say that. In reality, I wish I had a big sign that just said, if you're from the north, you're just like everyone else. And everyone just wants to feel like they belong. And that's why, and you walk into
Hmm.
tackle shops and people don't give you the time of day or turn their nose up at you. It's so disheartening, right? Because you already feel like you have no idea what you're doing, and then you
Right.
go in hoping to get information or talk to someone that does know what they're doing, and they're an asshole, and you're kind of
Hmm.
like, man, okay. So I'm so appreciative of my guys, but I was that guy,
Mm-hmm.
I was that guy 10 years ago. And, thank goodness for YouTube, because I
Right.
didn't have the cojones to come into a tackle shop and say, I have no idea what I'm doing. Please help me. I was too prideful. So the majority of our day is truly helping folks that aren't from here learn how to successfully fish in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
And fish more gooder. The tangled lines and the crankbaits tangled into one another. The first tournament I fished with my dad down here, um, our captain that took us out, he named us Team Tangle. That was our name, Team Tangle. So I saw your guys' logo and
Oh,
I was like, I've been there. I've been there.
oh
And
God.
the second year we
Mm-hmm.
fished it with them, we literally got embroidered shirts that said Team Tangle. And we showed up to our captain and he was like, holy shit, that's great. And we got third place out of 47 boats. So within 1 year, we were kind of like, yeah, shove it,
That's
captain. All
awesome.
right, now, yeah, Team
Yeah,
Tangle's
that's
taking home the
awesome.
third place.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, that's what Florida is, right? It's a bunch of tourists trying to figure out what to do with
Hell yeah.
fishing. So,
Going
I mean,
going from tangle to tango, right?
that's right. That's right.
Hell yeah.
Team Tank,
Gotta love
which
it.
is, yeah, but it's
So
it's saltwater fishing's hard, man, and there's
right.
no way around it. It's a steep
So
learning curve.
we if anyone goes to the website, what's your website?
Masterbaitandtackle.com.
Easy.
Yeah,
Bunch of
very easy.
shirts, bunch of good swag on there. You see the Northern walk in. What shirt do they go for? Or what do you point them to directly and go, hey bud, hey good old boy, this is you right here.
Yeah, so our most popular shirt right now is "Smile If You Masturbate," which has the Finding Nemo shark, and "Smile If You Masturbate." That's a classic.
Oh
Um,
God, that's beautiful.
Plays well with self. You better be pretty comfortable walking around with that.
Yeah.
I would say the newest shirt that's doing very well is we're always up for some motorboating, and motorboating has
Oh
some pretty good O's right there,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
and for all the folks that think pimping ain't easy, I tell you what, shrimping definitely ain't easy. So, and if you don't
That's
like funny
cracker.
stuff or things like that, we have great performance fishing shirts that still have a little bit of innuendo, chase and tail with the redfish and hoods, and we
Oh,
got
it's
the
beautiful.
USA themed tarpon shirt, but with the "You can't beat our bait." But yeah, I mean, and
That's
shout out to
beautiful.
shout out to Richardson. They keep us fully stocked with the freshest hats that we could ask for. So it's it's wonderful to have the brand and the name with the merch when unfortunate situations like Ian do rear their ugly head.
Hmm.
Similar to in 2018 when Southwest Florida had red tide for 8 months. Couldn't go to the beach, couldn't go in the water.
Hmm.
All the fish died. Imagine owning a tackle shop when you can't fish for 9 months. I don't understand how people make it through it. If you're a full time fishing guide and you feed your daughter or your son by being a fishing guide, and red tide literally sticks around for 9 months, you can't work for 9 months.
Yeah.
So it's, again, we feel fortunate. It's kind of why I wanted to work here is, the brand, and, I'm biased, but it's freaking hilarious. And it,
It's
and it,
amazing.
I mean,
It's
yeah.
beautiful.
and,
It is
and
absolutely
it,
beautiful.
and it keeps us afloat during these really tough times
Hmm.
when fishing and tackle take an immense backseat due to Mother Nature's setbacks.
Yeah.
So we kind of have our risk leveraged a little bit, but it's still, if we didn't have bait and tackle, if I was just a t-shirt shop, I wouldn't be able to pay our rent. So, bait
Hmm.
and tackle before the hurricane, bait and tackle was 70% of our business, and merch was just a very cute 30%. Now that
Yeah.
thing's flipped to about 80-20, the opposite way. But I'm not complaining. I'm happy that I got shirts and hats.
Right.
My boys down in Naples just sell shrimp and pinfish. And I'm sure that they wish that they had some shirts and hats to sell. So it's just we feel lucky, we feel blessed, and we feel thankful that people still have some perverted sense of humors and like buying our stuff. So
Right. It's shocking how the most tight knit person can get a pole in their hand, get a bite of something, not
that's
catch
right.
it, and then the opposite personality can come out, and your true colors will show when you snap off on something, or
Oh yeah.
it's the master bait and tackle. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a priest wearing a t-shirt.
Oh no.
If you liked fishing, if you liked fishing.
I had a guy come in here from Chicago who said that he had the highest ranking Catholic who was I forget what it's called, but he was from Chicago.
You're
So
probably like a cardinal or something.
any of the
Ugh.
diehard Catholics will know this gentleman, and he said that he was on his boat out in Chicago in Lake Michigan, and his son wore a masturbate and tackle shirt on the boat that day. And the dad looked at him and goes, "Of all the shirts you could have worn, you're gonna wear a masturbate shirt
Yeah.
with the highest ranking Catholic official. Like, please,
Oh
what are
yeah.
you doing?"
It's probably
And
like the archdiocese,
right,
something or another,
and
that's so funny.
I asked the dad. I said, "Well, did you tell that cardinal that he could masturbate online?" And he's like, "No, I didn't tell him that." I'm like, "Well, you should. You could get some of this merch."
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh
but
my god.
we hear it all the time. It makes us happy, but yeah, it's in reality, as much as we enjoy the shirts and the hats, we're still, I didn't want to own a retail shop, right? I didn't. I'm
Yeah.
not passionate about selling shirts. I give a shit about selling shirts. I care about talking to 85 people a day that want to learn how to fish, and that's why, my general manager Jamel has worked here for a fair amount of time, and you can see the passion in his eyes when he is explaining to someone who's never fished saltwater, and they come in the very next day and they say, "Jamel, we did exactly what you told us to do, and look at this 39-inch snook that we landed." And Jamel just like, "This is why I do it, man. This is why I do it." It's you know it's such a feeling of satisfaction, right? After you like study incredibly hard for a test, whether it's like the CFA or whatever it may be for you, that you put so much time and effort into learning your craft, and then you go in and you get that feeling of satisfaction that, okay, you achieved it and that you do know it. We can already do it ourselves, so that feeling of satisfaction for catching fish doesn't occur for us anymore. It's now literally teaching people that have no idea what they're doing, and hopefully you can put it in enough layman's terms and break it down to them at a level that they are able to go out and 2 hours later catch the biggest fish of their lives. And then they come in the next day and their smiles ear to ear, and they're shoving their phone in your face, and you stare at each other and you're like, "That's why we do it." Right? I mean, that's why
That's
you
awesome.
work. That's why I wanted to own a bait and tackle shop. And it's why my guys like working in here. So I mean, that's if you're not doing
And
it for that, then you're in it for the wrong reasons, because you certainly ain't in it for the money. I'll tell you that right now. If you're in it for the
yeah, no, my favorite thing, like,
good.
I was gonna say, like, my favorite thing, kind of encompassing what you've been talking about, is people walking into those bait and tackle shops and not wanting to say anything because they're gonna feel like an idiot.
Sure.
Like you said, like they have the pride. They don't want to walk in and be like, "I don't know what I'm doing," but especially the local bait and tackle shops, that's exactly what they're there for.
That's right.
And if you come in and you ask them, they are going to help you.
Sure. I mean,
And that's
I mean,
that's the beauty of it.
the simplest question that we get that you wouldn't think about, Sam, how do you hook a shrimp? How do you hook a live shrimp?
Put the hook through it.
Where?
Don't ask me. I have no
No
idea. I
idea.
have zero idea.
No idea.
So what seems so simple to anyone that lives down here, and we only use shrimp, for someone to walk in and know that, because you're coming to Florida and you know that shrimp is life for live bait, for you to have, to swallow your pride and say, well, how do you hook it?
Mm-hmm.
How would you know? Tim, how would you know? You wouldn't. And it's for them, it's such an embarrassing question because it should seem so simple. But why would you know how to hook a shrimp? And it's an extremely important question. And you just see people just be so standoffish and gun shy around asking those extremely simple but extremely important questions, right? I mean, it's like, oh, you hook it through the tail. And then you'll have the guy in the background be like, you hook it through the tail. No, you don't. Shut up. Right? I mean, they just don't want to seem like they don't know anything, right? It's always the loudest guy that knows nothing. But it's just something that's simple makes the biggest difference in the world in your success rate out here is knowing where to hook them and how to hook them. And it seems so simple to someone that grew up in Fort Myers and so alien to someone that grew up in Illinois. So it's just funny to see people be so standoff, and you're like, bro, ask away. So ask away, right? Because there's just so much. There's so much to learn and so much to know. And how could you ever know unless you did it every day or you ask a guy who works at a bait shop? It's just funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then God forbid they buy all the gear, they get a bucket with 3 dozen shrimp in it, and then they go out and find a boat or whatever. They go to a shoreline, and then they spend an hour on YouTube trying to find a signal so they could YouTube how to hook a shrimp.
Or they hook
That'd
them
be
through
the
the
other
head.
option. Yeah.
Yeah, or they hook them through the stomach and they kill them all, and then you just killed $19 worth of bait, right?
Yeah.
If you would have just asked, it's just it's. But yeah, it's just there. It seems so simple, right? Just hook, line, and sinker, and throw a shrimp out there. But if you make it, you can make it as complicated as you want if you don't ask any questions.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, I'm not gonna lie. My brain is I've learned so much in this hour. I don't. I'm
It's
like,
been an hour.
honest, Todd, I appreciate it so much jumping on with us and just. I bet what we've asked 1/8 of 1% of the stuff that someone would need to know, or we've
So
discussed barely any. I feel like we barely touched the surface on it.
we already talked about line, hooks,
Right?
and terminal tackle. That's all you got to know.
That's it.
That's all
Oh
you got to know.
jeez.
That's it.
Oh
That's
jeez.
it.
So now all me
You'll
and
be
Tim got to
golden.
do is come find you down there and be like, hey, where, which boat do we go on? Yeah.
That's
Oh
right. And
God.
I got a full. The whole all behind my shop is those are all charter captain signs because
Oh wow.
after they're done asking questions, we just say, would you rather just book a charter? And most of them go, yeah, we'd rather just book a charter.
Oh,
I'm like, okay. Well, you can
100%.
do that. You can do that too.
Yeah, 100%. Oh my gosh.
But then you don't
Oh
learn
my
anything.
gosh.
Then you just catch a shit
Right.
ton of fish. Yeah.
Right. And then yeah, you take nothing home. You got to That's what I love about they can come in, they're going to learn stuff. So then when they go home, when they go back to Columbus, Chicago, Cleveland, Indianapolis, they come back home and it's not only they get a picture of a fish, they can explain what they did to catch it, and now
That's
they're
right.
the pro in their friend group or at
Sure.
Christmas or whatever.
Sure.
That's
Oh
just the
yeah.
best. It's the
Yeah.
best.
We caught a bonita. Is that a big fish?
Yeah.
Is that a big?
What's wrong with this? What's wrong with this guy?
Yeah. What is he hitting on me? What's going on?
A
Well,
trophy
it's
fish.
called a
It's
trophy
a trophy
fish.
fish. What's
So
wrong with
Oh
this
my
guy?
God.
kind of big.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Uh, any questions for us?
All right.
What else? What else is there?
Well, when are you guys coming to Florida?
We could. I could.
I could probably do.
Look at
When
you.
do we
You're
want
both.
to go?
Actually,
You're both
When
southern.
should we
when's
go?
a good
There's a May. May's the best.
May's the
May's
best.
the best fishing in Florida. Whether you're the tarpon are here, the
Tim,
cold
take
weather,
notes. May.
the 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 wind out of the north completely starts to die down, and the lightning storms offshore haven't got too bad. So it's always there's never a good time to go offshore in Florida. From November to April, it's absurdly windy, and the seas are angry. From May to October, there's lightning storms every day from 2 to 5 p.m. So trying to come back in from 70 miles offshore, you are met at the coastline with flashes of lightning every 10 feet. And in the winter, the waves are so big from the wind, you can't get out there. May is that perfect in between. And what also happens in May in our area is that the tarpon are migrating from Key West up to the Panhandle and Destin.
Okay.
So when it starts to get too hot in the Keys, especially Key West, around March, those tarpons start their migration. And they stop in Bonita Springs, Naples, Sanibel, and Captiva, and Boca Grande for almost 2 months and feed. So this, can you see that? Can you see that tarpon?
Oh yeah. Oh god, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So that was about a 180 pounder that I caught in 4 feet of water. And that was during the big migration, and just happened to eat a big blue crab. But that fish and 5,000 of his buddies make their way up during the first part of May. So if it was it, and the permit, or guys know what permit are, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so permit are everywhere. May is definitely, and you're out of spring break season, so flights are better. Anyone listening, May is the perfect time to visit South Florida. Spring break is done, flight prices plummet, and fishing explodes. So May is.
I have it written down. I'm gonna try and aim for early May.
May is the time.
Yep, and the prices plunge, and Todd knows it. So you come in and you got to buy 2 shirts.
At least
minimum, yeah.
At least.
If you're gonna take a picture outside, slip a 5 under the door.
Take a picture outside and throw 1 in the gravel.
Right. It's not Blockbuster, but for the love of God, rewind the tape before you bring it back.
That's right. Come on now. Yeah.
Good lord.
But yeah, I'd love to take you guys out. I got about 15 charter captains that will take you out, teach you nothing, and put you on fish. So we can do that too.
Or we do both, right?
Yeah.
That's probably the best way to do it.
And we just the good thing about Ian is that he flooded our whole shop and knocked out a bunch of our walls. So we have more room. We added a freshwater shiner tank for all you bass fishermen, all the freshwater folks. So now we have live freshwater shiners that are about 4 inches big. You guys ever caught a peacock bass?
No.
No.
You come down here.
That's next. All right.
From the time you get in my shop, if you set a timer for 30 minutes, we'll go put you on 4 to 5 pound peacock bass in Naples whenever you get down here. So that's another thing that now we've turned into a freshwater shop as well. We got great freshwater bait, and peacock bass are all over our area. So it's
all right. Sign us up.
You don't need to go to the Amazon to catch peacocks. Just come to Florida.
Yeah, just come to Florida. That's
it.
beautiful. All right, I love it. Well, hey, we appreciate your time, man. Anything, Tim? Before I just start to ramble about nonsense?
Well, that's your what you do.
That's what I do. I appreciate that.
I don't know. I was gonna go somewhere else with it, but
try to keep it PG. Right. So, all right. Hey.
Nah. No, but seriously, really appreciate jumping on the call with us and sharing the information. Chances are we're gonna have to do at least another Todd. Dave and I were joking, saying there's TED Talks out there. We're just gonna do Todd Talk. Every now and again, jump on a guy, talk another aspect.
It would have actually been great if I would have just started this while my charter captain was here. While you guys could have seen me lining and spooling his reels up, you guys could actually ask a professional. He would have chimed in after he was 4 beers deep, pissed off about the shrimp. So
let's do it again. Let's do it again.
This place after 5 p.m. turns into a damn dive bar. So there's a lot of entertaining stuff that goes on in a bait and tackle shop when the lights go down.
Oh my God, we'll have to come down and bring the cameras and everything.
Please do. You better bring an 18. You have to bring an 18-pack of Bud Light, or else you can't get in. I am paid handsomely by all my friends just by 12 packs every day.
That will absolutely be done. Absolutely.
I'll bring 2.
There you go.
Absolutely. All right. Hey, give me a cheers and let's sign the damn thing off. Yeah, buddy. Thank you again, Todd.
Cheers, boys. Thanks for having me.
Hey, y'all. Thanks for watching. You can find more content like this at fishmoregooder.com.
Don't forget, like, subscribe at YouTube, and follow us on Instagram, and submit that best catch to fmgbestcatch@gmail.com for a chance to win some cool prizes.
Beautiful. We'll catch you on the next one.